going to bring you something a little different today. I sat down recently with my dear friend Jim Payne. Jim and I were longtime deer hunting partners. We've been hunting together since the early 90s, and he had to quit hunting probably 4 years ago. And I tell you, there's not a time I go hunting what I don't miss him. We hunted a lot of years, a lot of hours together, and he'll be 87 years old on his birthday, which is just in a few days. So I'm gonna wish him an early happy birthday, and I hope you enjoy this conversation we had. We just kind of went back some of our old hunts and things, and I really enjoyed sitting down with him and talking about some of them. Wish we had time to talk about all of our experiences, because we left out so many. There's so many different things that we experienced pursuing whitetails all over the state and in different states as well, and but time just wouldn't allow it. But Jim is a lifelong hunter, and we called him, those of us who were close to him and hunted with him, called him the deer doctor, because he knew more about deer and deer hunting and how to hunt deer than any person I've ever known in my life. When we struggled to even see a deer, he would, every season, he would, feel his limit or as many as he desired to kill. And when he hunted, he was just an outstanding hunter. And I think you'll enjoy this. So we appreciate you joining us. All right, we'll get started here. Hello, everyone. I'm with one of my best friends in the whole world and my longtime deer hunting partner, Jim Payne. Jim and I hunted together for, I don't even know, 25 years, probably. Maybe 30 years, something like that. Early 90s we started together, so probably 30 years that we hunted together. And I was trying to think today when we first time we ever hunted together. And I can remember going to Chuck Swan with you as one of the first times that I can remember. Yeah. And I remember a couple things about that trip. It rained a lot over there for some reason. Every time we went, it seemed like. And I remember going with you on one day, and of course we were both a lot younger. You were probably, I don't know, you might have been early 50s, and I was mid 20s, and you had that tree lounge tree stand, and we were talking about it upstairs a minute ago. It weighed about 40 pounds, and a backpack, and I don't know what all, and back then I didn't hunt at a tree stand. I was too scared of heights, and so you were going to put me in a place, so I was going to follow you. And we started up this mountain, and I'm telling you, feels like that was the steepest mountain I ever climbed in my life at the time. I'll never forget you with that 50 pounds on your back going right up that stand, and I was huffing and puffing and about to die. And we got up there and pointed me in the direction, and I walked out this old logging road, sat down on the side of it, and just as it got daylight, good daylight, I hear something running down that logging road. And I kind of looked that way, and all I could see was antlers on top of this deer's head. It turned its head, and I'd see these antlers turning, and I should have stood up then, but I didn't. And finally it jumped down the woods where I was at, and I couldn't see it in the scope, couldn't find it in some thick stuff, and long story short, I never got a shot at it. It run off and ran out of my life forever, and never saw it again. But that was one of the first experiences I remember. And matter of fact, that was what motivated me to start hunting out of a tree stand. The next year we went there, I had a tree lounge. I'd bought a tree lounge like you, and got lost in the fog that morning, and finally just gave up. So I'm just climbing right here, and I bet there was 30 deer around me that morning, but I couldn't see any of them. I could hear them. I'd see a foot. I'd see an ear. It was so foggy. And finally, later that morning, the fog cleared out, and I remember there were 3 does that walked right underneath me. I had to look down over the edge of the tree stand to see them, and walked right underneath me. And right then I was sold forever about hunting out of a tree stand. And you can count them probably on one hand the times I've hunted on the ground since then. But, yeah. Did you ever kill any deer, Chuck Swan?
Yeah, I can't remember what though. I remember killing 1 or 2 up there.
Yeah, we hunted there a few times.
Nothing monstrous, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of deer though. They were thick back then in that area, in that place.
Yeah. And this was back in the early 90s when, like, the places that you and I hunted in later years, well, there wasn't any deer around here hardly, you know. Yeah. And we could go out there and see 10 or 15 deer in a day. We wouldn't see 10 or 15 deer in a whole season sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
if you saw one every 2 or 3 trips you went, you think you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and many days not see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said a while ago, how many deer you think you killed in your life?
It's somewhere close to 100. I couldn't count them when I killed 50. And that's all bucks, except I think my whole life I had killed 2 does.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I remember one of those does was you and I killed them on the same day out there at Griff's on our lease. Yeah. I think that's the only time in 30 years of us hunting together that we doubled up. Yeah. And for years, if you remember, neither one of us ever killed a deer when we hunted together. I mean, we hunted together all the time, but for many years, neither one of us ever killed a deer when we were hunting together.
We were bad looking.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Went all the way to Ohio.
Yeah, we went to, we've hunted here in Tennessee at Chuck Swan. We went to Cobb County. I went with you one time over there on the lake, on them steep mountains. And we hunted at Land Between the Lakes a few times. We hunted at Catoosa several times at Catoosa. And matter of fact, you killed your first deer at Catoosa, didn't you?
I think so,
Yeah. Up on Bee Ridge.
Yeah.
And climbed up in a tree and sat on a limb, if I remember right. Killed one. Yeah. And then we hunted, like you said, we hunted in Illinois and Kentucky. Remember that one time we went to Kentucky and we had called, this is back before days of the internet and maps, and there were maps, but like Onyx on map apps, and we just called game wardens up there and asked what was the best county, and we were all excited. We got up there, it was just a bunch of strip pits and thick stuff, and you couldn't even see, and we seen a lot of tracks, a lot of sign, but I don't think we saw a deer the whole time we were up there.
They didn't bother to tell us how rough terrain.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, but we've had a lot of good times together, and the thing that one thing that I've said is you don't really know a person until you marry them or you deer hunt with them. And deer hunting will bring the best out of people, and it'll bring the worst out of people. And we hunted for, like I said, around 30 years together, and I don't think we ever had a crossword, and I don't think we ever had a jealous moment. We was always happy when the other one killed one, and it's just very few people that have that kind of relationship, and especially that many years.
Yeah.
And both of us hunted with some people, when we'd kill one, they'd get mad about it. We don't mention no names, but but we've never one minute. And the thing about deer hunters, everybody hunts different, and you take some people, they want to go out there for an hour and go home, and Some people, if the weather's least cold or least windy, they're out, but you and I were always the same makeup, it seemed like, about hunting. I mean, we were out there no matter the weather, stayed as long as we could, and hunted as many days as we could, and just never really ever thought about, not going if it was deer season,
Yeah.
for the most part. Another time one of the times we went to Chuck Swan, we'd had a long, kind of miserable trip, and it was nasty, and I think it was the last day, and I decided I was going to go some new spot there, and I went in, and it seemed like everything went wrong that morning. I mean, probably got turned around, and I don't remember what all, but anyway, I got climbed up in the tree, and finally settled in. It was already daylight, and I was sitting there. I was already aggravated, and I moved my head or did something, and my hat fell off my head on the ground. And it's about the time my hat fell off, it started snowing. It was kind of like insult to injury, and I was just getting snow piled up on my head and down my neck, and my hat's laying on the ground. I'm like, man, what the heck do I do this for? Why do I do this? But we had a lot of good times, a lot of funny times. You remember the time we got that really big buck on camera at Griff's? I think it's probably one of the first, really big bucks that we got on camera.
Yeah.
Is out there what we call the bear hole,
Yeah.
coming out of that clear cut.
Yeah.
And one morning, it's during bow season, I decided I wasn't going to hunt. I'm just going to go with you and film. And we got a 2-man ladder stand, 2 of us, and 2 grown men, and I was really big back then, and we barely fit in it. And I looked over to my left, and I said, Jim, is that a deer over there? You said, yeah, that's a deer. I said, you reckon it's that buck? Couldn't hardly tell. And he lifted up his head. About that time, he had that big rack sitting on top of his head. And you were hunting, and you had your bow, and you were sitting down, and that deer came around in front of us. He'd seen us, but he didn't know what we were. He probably never believed it'd be 2 grown men sitting in a ladder stand together. Anyway, he finally skirted his way around in front of us like they always do. He stopped from a little pine tree, and you didn't have a shot. And finally, he seen all of us he wanted to, and he took off running with his tail tucked, and again ran out of our life. We never seen him again.
Yeah.
But that was a dandy. That was a big one. And you had a saying, I've heard you say it many times, those big bucks live a charmed life. So, seems like if there's a way for something to go wrong and one of them's around, it'll go wrong.
Yeah, it seemed that way.
I think, I guess the funniest story I have to tell on me was when I shot that doe that day, and it exploded.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell that story?
I can't remember that much. I remember it blowing up, your green stuff all over your face.
Yeah, we were hunting together, and I'd shot a doe that morning, pretty early.
Left it out there.
I left it. It fell in front of me, and Jim was still hunting, and I didn't want to disturb, so I just sat there in my stand and hoped maybe a big buck would walk by and let Jim hunt. And anyway, neither one of us killed another one, and got down and drug it out, and we took it down by the creek to field dress it. And it was swelled, but I didn't realize, I guess, how much it was swelled. And I got down there in that creek field dressing that, and I just got started to field dress it. I've never in my life heard anything like that before. I punctured that stomach accidentally. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And it sounded like a bomb went off. And that fecal matter and guts and blood flew all over my face, in my mouth, on my shirt. And I didn't even know what had happened. And all I hear was Jim laughing and laughing and laughing. That was one time I think I did get a little mad when he was laughing so much at me. Yeah. But we sure have had a lot of good times over the year, traveled a lot of miles. We got to go to Illinois together. We saw a rub in Illinois. We'd never seen one like that in Tennessee. I think I still got a picture somewhere of it. You standing next to that tree, and that tree was nearly as big as you were around, and a buck had shredded that cedar tree. Just, I think I might have seen him. Another one of my goof ups. Another one bucks live a charmed life deal, but he came in behind a smaller buck, and I was watching the smaller buck and never seen him. And I wasn't worried about that smaller buck, and I was kind of goofing around with it, calling to it, you know, just playing with it. And he finally caught on and turned and ran, and I was like, no big deal. And I hung my bow up.
You hadn't seen him.
No, I hadn't seen that big one, no.
Yeah.
I hung my bow up, just time it hit the hanger, before I let go of it, that big buck turned around and wheeled off, and I promise you his rack was that wide. It was wide.
Yeah.
His hind end looked like a mule, and his rack stuck out past his hind end.
Good.
That was the end of that. Yeah. But judging by our conversation, you'd think we never did kill a deer, because every one of them got away.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of them do.
Yeah.
You've hunted pretty much all your life, haven't you? Started out when you was a boy in Kentucky.
Yeah. Wasn't any deer up there then, though.
Right.
Went out and sneaked up on groundhogs, and of course squirrel hunted and rabbit hunted and coon hunted and possum hunted.
And you guys kind of did it to survive, didn't you, back
Yeah.
then?
Oh yeah, man. We were hand to mouth. I was telling somebody recently about eating. We ate squirrels and rabbits and groundhogs, and never had to eat a possum. I don't think we ever ate a coon. And first coon I ate, I lived here in Tennessee somewhere, and guy that I hung with once in a while, he worked at the iron mill, and his wife, we visited him, and his wife went to the freezer and brought out a cleaned up coon, and just insisted that we take it, telling us how good it was. That's the only coon I ever ate. But yeah, we lived off of it. I mean, I'm serious. My mother could cook biscuits, and she cooked biscuits 3 times a day. And we'd have beans, and that's about it. Once in a while, like I say, we'd have a squirrel, or maybe once a month she'd be able to buy a little bit of ham or bacon, you know, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Different. Rest of the time is eating stuff out of the garden and
Wild meat, if you got it.
And if the corn wasn't just right, we'd go on the farmer's big cornfield up there and steal corn and eat corn cobs. They can't put me in jail for it now.
That's right. I think that's the statute of limitations run out now.
Yeah. But he was a pretty nice fellow, and I think it's 600 acres.
Huh.
I fell out of a walnut tree in that guy. It's actually part of his big old yard, and he let us hunt or get walnuts and sell sell them out and sell walnuts. And I guess me and another boy, we got out of school, and we rode our bicycles up. It was about a mile to his house. We rode our bicycles up them hills, and got up to his house, and most of the big old trees he had there were walnut trees. I mean, they were loaded down with walnuts. We both had some big old bag, big old 100-pound bag, and we'll bring it back on our bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, you can climb one of these trees here, and I'll go on up and climb another one. So I found one I could climb, got up in that thing, and I grabbed a limb, big old limb. I was gonna shake because they were starting to fall. And I get a big jerk on that and went backwards out of that tree. And that was like, well, we got out of school, so probably 2 or 3 hours of daylight left. And when I woke up, it was dark.
Mm.
And I'd hit on my neck. I still got a big knot on the back of my neck. And I'd lay there unconscious all that time. And
Oh,
I hollered for old boy to be in. And he'd already left.
Just left you there.
Yeah, I didn't have a flashlight or anything, but I knew all the, rock farms around there and all.
Right.
And the way when you get down to the railroad track, and you go down the railroad track, I could see our house when we got pretty close. But it stove me up so bad I couldn't ride the bicycle.
We were hunting one time, and you had knee surgery, and it'd been a few months since you'd had it, but you just couldn't get the mobility in your knee.
Yeah.
And you'd been to therapy and all kinds of stuff. And we were tromping through the woods, and you stepped in a hole and bent that knee, and I thought, oh mercy, he's done tore it up and gonna be in the hospital, and that fixed it.
Yeah.
It broke that limit, and
Yeah.
after that you was all right.
Yeah. I'm trying to cross a log. There's a big old log.
Mhm.
I was trying to get across it when I fell. I think.
Yeah.
And there's a hole, some kind of a hole, I guess, where a stump had rotted off or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
We've had.
That's this one here. This one's still bothering me.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you killed that. I took a video up there a minute ago. That big 10-pointer.
Yeah.
Killed out there on what we call griffs. It was a lease we were on for years, and that's maybe the biggest one ever killed on that lease. Was for a long time. It still may be, and it's a dandy. But you remember what happened? That you killed it in the evening, didn't you?
Yeah, in the evening, right at dusk.
You'd killed one earlier that day, hadn't you? Back then, you killed 2 bucks in a day.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I think when I killed, I took it home and hung it up
I think that's right.
and went back.
Yeah, you left Preacher Jones out
Yeah.
there in the woods.
Yeah,
He hadn't seen one all day, or hadn't killed one anyway,
yeah.
and came back that evening, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when it come off that creek and come up, did you know how big it was when you shot it?
I couldn't tell. I knew it had a nice rack on it, but I couldn't tell that much back because it was almost too dark to shoot. And as it happened, Brother Jones was with me, and he was down in a hollow over there, and he said, "How in the world did you see that thing? You shot in the dark." I said, "No, it wasn't either, because the sun was going down out, in
Right.
front of me, and the deer came up. That's the only one I ever grunted to and called it in.
Yeah.
And I heard there were 2 of them. I guess they'd been fighting, and they were grunting and carrying on. I never did even see the other one. It ran off. It may have been bigger than that. I may have shot the least. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
Shoot him and all of a sudden tear it out running twice as big.
Yeah. He's a dandy.
Yeah.
He's a dandy.
I had antlers. I left a few of these around. But I gave Nathan a whole sack of, a big old sack of antlers, because he likes to blacksmith, and he would make
Use them for handles.
fish, yeah, for
Yeah,
skinning knives. And,
that's pretty cool. I'm gonna hit him up to make one for me with one of the, if he still got them, with one of the deer horns that you, where you killed. I'd like to have that. That'd be pretty neat. Yeah.
yeah, I might have to give all them away too. I'll probably give Nathan and Philip the beast.
Yeah. I think it's, which, is it this one or that one on the end that got me a steak at Outback?
I don't remember.
Remember it? You shot it out there in the field at Griff's, and we couldn't find it that evening. And me and Malachi came back next day, and Malachi actually found it. And you said, I'm gonna take you boys out and buy you a steak. And we went to Outback
No.
and had a steak, three of us.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it might be that one on the end down there. I'm not sure. Yeah.
No, I don't remember. I remember him finding them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we sure have had a lot of fun, haven't we?
Yeah.
Traveled a lot of miles, wasted a lot of money.
Well,
No, I mean, it really wasn't wasted, because I don't think you could have done anything, very few things of anything that you do in life that we enjoyed more than we enjoyed that. Had a lot of good times and a lot of funny stories. We sit around still to this day and talk about some of the stories and memories that I know I'll cherish forever. And I share them with other people, and I'm sure some of those have been handed down to other people. So I love doing many of them. And you're the best hunting partner I ever had, bar none, not even close.
Well, I'll say the same for you. That's what I really
We sure had good times. Well, I appreciate you sitting down talking with me today.
no problem.
Yeah. Thank you. Cut.